and Eastern Kentucky. This is WYNT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Ukraine's president is calling an attack on the central square in the country's second largest city an act of terror, saying the Freedom Square in Kharkiv held no military targets. As a 40-mile Russian military convoy moves closer to Ukraine's capital, Russia's defense ministry is warning it will strike sites in Kyiv belonging to Ukraine's security service to prevent what it calls information attacks on Russia. CBS's Deborah Alfarone reports from Washington.
Eyewitness video captured the moment a Russian missile struck a television tower in the capital, Kyiv, as a 40-mile Russian convoy remained stalled on the outskirts of the city. The deadly attack came on the same day Russian forces hit this administration building in Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv, killing several people and wounding dozens.
Ми боремося за наші права.
In an emotional address before the European Parliament, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said his nation is fighting to survive this brutal Russian invasion. And in a sign of solidarity, European Union ambassadors at a UN conference walked out with Ukraine when Russia's foreign minister began his address.
We must reject Russia's attempts to falsely justify this attack as a defense of human rights.
The U.S. and other world powers are set to release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves to help ease rising gas prices that have skyrocketed since the Russian invasion started. President Biden also held a call with President Zelensky for just over 30 minutes. They discussed further sanctions against Russia and defense assistance for Ukraine. On Tuesday, House Republicans argued that assistance should include weapons.
They need some air defense support. They need ammunition. They need rifles, machine guns, and others.
As the crisis continues to unfold, 200 American troops landed in Germany Tuesday as part of NATO's eastern flank. Their arrival comes as Russia's defense minister says it will continue its Ukraine operation until its goals are achieved. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Russia's state media says a second round of talks between delegations from Ukraine and Russia is expected to take place Wednesday. The effects of the war in Ukraine are being felt right here in the Commonwealth. Coming up at 6, you'll hear from a Dunbar High School student in Lexington who has family in Ukraine. He tells us how his family is dealing with the current situation and has had to deal with close calls trying to stay safe in a war zone. Governor Andy Beshear and First Lady Brittany Beshear also announced that they will light the dome of the Kentucky State Capitol blue and the front of the governor's mansion yellow Tuesday and Wednesday as a show of support for the people of Ukraine.
Plenty of blue sky around the mountains as we went through yesterday, today, tomorrow, Thursday. You get the picture. It's been a nice stretch of weather, and that continues here as we head into the beginning of March. Of course, today, March 1st, and it's feeling nice out there on the first day of meteorological spring. High knob camera out at UVA-wise. A couple of high clouds working in. It's beautiful out there. Mid-50s for our current temperatures. I-75 at London. Those shadows getting longer, but they're getting shorter with the time because we are getting closer and closer to spring. Less than a month away now from astronomical spring. The vernal equinox there toward the end of the month. Temperatures in the low and middle 60s around the region. We continue to watch those temperatures slowly start to fall as night slowly starts to fall around the region. It's quiet. Satellite and radar, nothing to talk about. Same thing as we back on out. You got to go up toward the Buckeye State to even run into any clouds. So if you're headed out to those region tournaments, of course, many of us not too far away now from tip-off. It's nice out there now, but don't forget the jacket if you haven't headed out there yet to some of those arenas and coliseums. Make sure you grab the coat because it's going to be in the 40s by the time those games end tonight. Now I'll have the latest on when we could see even warmer temperatures on the way coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. 1 year ago today, parts of southeastern Kentucky were dealing with historic flooding along the Kentucky River. In Breathitt County, the river crested at 34 feet, which is a level that had not been seen since 1984. Officials in Breathitt County say more than 50 homes were destroyed by last year's March flooding. Now, a year later, some homeowners are just now completing repairs and say it's hard to believe 1 year has already gone by.
I can't believe that the cleanup's actually over. It just seems like last week. As far as repairs, we're still doing that, but it actually took maybe 2 months to be livable, safely.
Even though the road to recovery continues, Kilburn says she's grateful to be back to some sense of normalcy because she knows many other families were worse off. The trial of former Louisville police officer Brett Hankinson continued today. He's charged with 4 counts of wanton endangerment in connection to the Breonna Taylor case. Prosecutors say he fired blindly into a neighboring apartment the night of the raid. Last week, jurors visited the scene. Hankinson is the only officer charged in the case. He is expected to take the stand. Jurors also heard from an LMPD firearms instructor who explained some of their training.
Part of your training, when an officer makes the decision to shoot, to discharge his weapon at an active threat, is he taught to shoot until that threat is stopped?
Yes, sir.
Hankinson told investigators he shot through Taylor's apartment in the direction of muzzle flashes. We are digging deeper into the case against Shannon Gilday. He's the one accused of breaking into a Madison County home and killing 32-year-old Jordan Morgan. Gilday was arrested early yesterday. One of several questions which remains unanswered in this case is what type of weapon Gilday might have been using on the night he's accused of breaking into the Morgan family home. Documents say Gilday was seen with an assault rifle. Wesley Morgan told us he thought Gilday was using an AR-15, which is typically a semi-automatic rifle.
This sorry, low-down piece of dog crap broke into that door, kicked her door open, and shot her probably 6, 7, 8 times with an AR-15.
District court officials confirmed to us that Gilday's arraignment is scheduled for 9 tomorrow morning. His bond has been set at $2 million cash. As President Biden is set to give his first State of the Union address in a few hours, Washington Bureau reporter Jamie Bittner spoke to Kentucky lawmakers who will be listening closely to what the president has to say about one key issue.
Kentucky lawmakers are focused on the economy. Democrats express hope in a growing job market, as Republicans say Kentucky families are paying too high of a price for the president's policies.
I would say that my biggest concern is inflation.
From rising prices at the pump to rising prices at the grocery store, Senator Rand Paul says inflation is hitting people who are least able to afford it. He says the solution is simple. The government needs to stop spending money it doesn't have.
We wanted something, for nothing, and people were passed out checks, and everybody said, wow, it's great to get a $1,400 check, until they figured out they're paying for it through inflation.
Representative John Yarmouth, a Democrat, agrees inflation is a problem, but takes a far less dire view.
I don't think we're in an economic crisis. We do have a problem with inflation that unfortunately always impacts lower and moderate income citizens the most. A lot of what we're seeing now is a function of the pandemic and our response to it.
The Labor Department's January report on inflation finds the annual rate has risen to 7.5%, a 40-year high. The agency also reports that employers have raised wages at the fastest rate in more than 15 years. But inflation has trimmed real hourly earnings by 1.7% over the past year, a reality underscored by Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
The middle 40% of American earners have seen their disposable incomes fall more than an entire percentage point.
President Joe Biden is expected to explain how that money is boosting the economy when he gives his State of the Union address here on Capitol Hill at 9 p.m. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds will give the rebuttal. Reporting in Washington, I'm Jamie Bittner.
And you can see the State of the Union tonight at 9 on WYMT. In addition to the comments we just heard from several of our Kentucky lawmakers, Congressman Andy Barr was asked what he would like to hear from President Biden tonight.
On crime, we need to stop defunding the police and actually increase resources to law enforcement to stop the crime wave in this country. And on inflation, we need to stop the overspending, and we need to appoint people to the Federal Reserve who will tighten monetary policy to stop this huge burden on the American people of decreased purchasing power.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell also delivered remarks on the Senate floor regarding the State of the Union. He had this to say, quote, "I'm afraid the most damaging legacy of President Biden's first year is bigger than just unwise policies. Democrats have not just tried pushing bad ideas through our institutions. Even under the presidency of a self-styled institutionalist, the far left has tried to wreck our institutions altogether. If this administration does not majorly correct its course, the American people may correct course for them this November." U.S. Department of Agriculture officials announced that they are accepting applications for grants to help farmers and ranchers. These grants will help create investments into their produce to help it flourish and grow. The department is making the grants available under the Value Added Producer Grant Program. The grants help farmers generate new products, create marketing opportunities, and increase their income through value-added activities. Night 2 of the 13th Region Tournament has arrived. Let's head out to the Corbin Arena as Eugene Farmer and John North preview tonight's live action, guys.
Welcome everyone to the Corbin Arena. It's night 2 of the 13th Region Tournament, and tonight the ladies share center stage yet again as we have two great matchups. In game 1, the Bell County Lady Cats take on the Jackson County Lady Generals. Eugene Farmer here alongside John North. John, a very good matchup as Jackson County could present some size problems for the Lady Cats.
Absolutely, two bigs inside for Jackson County. Going to give Bell County a lot of problems. Jackson County's had a very good yield. Bell County is very, very good coming into this ball game.
Yeah, when you think about Gracie Joe Wilder and Nadine Johnson, one of the best inside-outside combos in the region.
Absolutely. They lay claim to maybe a favorite coming into this. There's several teams that can. Bell County is one of those.
And in the nightcap tonight, South Laurel takes on Barberville. South Laurel, the defending champions, as Chris Souter is loaded and ready to go again.
Yeah, we talk about having the target on your back. These Laurel County schools, South Laurel is right there too. Souter is poised to take his girls back to a region final.
Two great matchups here tonight. In game 1, Bell County takes on Jackson County, and in the nightcap, South Laurel takes on Barberville. Be sure and join us at 6 o'clock here on Heroes and Icons and WYMT.com.
All right, thanks, guys. The whole tournament on Heroes and Icons and WYMT.com through early next week. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, wrapping up your taxes. One expert says keeping that paperwork handy could pay off. Why it can help guide you with key financial decisions.
And mild air continues to work into the region this week as a taste of spring heads our way. I've got the full details on the way. Don't touch that remote.
WYMT News app offers a